Our meeting will now come to order. Good afternoon. Welcome. Glad to see everybody out this afternoon. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn closed session and for discussion of student matters and to adopt certification of closed session.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt certification of closed session and return to open session.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we adjourn closed session and adopt certification for closed session.
Certification of closed session. Whereas the Dinwiddie County School Board has convened a closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas paragraph 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Dinwiddie County School Board hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only such business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the school board. J. Sneff, District 1.
I certify.
Betty Haney, District 2.
I certify.
Barbara Pittman, District 3.
I certify.
Mary Benjamin, District 4.
I certify.
Shirley Merritt, District 5.
I certify.
Student Representative Jamaica Weaver. Claire Corbett. Madam Chair, we have 5 board members present, 2 student reps, all certified.
Thank you. Now join us in an invitation to participate with the Pledge of Allegiance with one of our student representatives, Ms. Colbert.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any amendments?
No amendments.
There are no amendments. I would accept the motion to adopt the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we adopt the agenda as presented. All of those in favor?
Aye.
It is adopted. Closed session report, approval of the personnel list.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the personnel list as presented. Second.
It has been moved and second that we approve the personnel list as presented. All of those in favor use the usual sign.
Aye.
Hearing no nays, the personnel list is approved. Approval of student matters.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the recommendation of the administration and expel students number E-09/21-1 and student number E-09/21-2 because they pose a threat to the health and safety of students and staff of Dinwiddie County Public Schools.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we accept the recommendation of administration and expel students number E-09/21-1, E-09/21-2. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no nays, the recommendation is approved. Board matters
Consent agenda.
or expenditure reports. Sorry, Ms. Mary.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the expenditure report as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we accept expenditure reports as presented. All of those in favor use the usual voting sign.
Aye.
Hearing none, we have accepted the expenditure reports. Approval of minutes of August 10th and August 24th meetings.
Madam Chairman, I approve that we accept the minutes as presented for the August 10th and August 24th meeting.
Second.
It has been moved and second that the minutes of August 10th and August 24th, 2021 minutes be accepted. All of those in favor use the usual sign.
Aye.
Hearing no nays, the minutes are approved. Now we get to board matters.
Yes, Ms. Benjamin, I'd like to ask Mr. Atkins to come forward. We have several field trips. Yes, we do. Several field trips from the high school that he'll be asking for approval this evening.
Hey, how y'all doing? We have 2 trips. If you look at 401 and 405, both trips to the state fair. DECA to the state fair for real life management with judges and advertisement promotional with judges. And then FFA for competition. We have 1 student for FFA. They would use a county car. DECA is requesting a school bus. Both of these would take place during the school day, September 29th for DECA and then September 30th for the FFA trip.
Board members,
These need to be done individually.
Okay. I was gonna ask, were there any
Madam Chair.
questions?
I move that we approve the marketing field trip as presented by Mr. Atkins
And the FFA.
and the FFA.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we approve the DECA field trip and the FFA. Are there any, all those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any questions? Can I ask a question? I have a question. Mr. Atkins or to Mr. He's not here, the bus.
I spoke to Mr. Tucker today.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had a bus and a driver.
Yeah.
Because, I understand that we gotta run routes in the afternoon. We got the route to go and then that's a problem with the parents and the students getting on.
So for the DECA trip, require 1 bus. He said 1 bus should not be a problem for that day.
All right, thank you. Then
You're
that's the answer to my question. So do I need to restate the motion or we gonna continue? Restate the motion?
No.
Okay, so now all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, you know. It's, those trips are approved. Thank you.
You're welcome. The next 2 camps, 402, we can just do the first one, I guess. Girls basketball camp to Christopher Newport University. It's going to take place on a Saturday, so transportation should be an issue. Would use a county bus. They would leave in the morning and come back that evening.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the girls' basketball trip to CNU on a Saturday.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we accept the girls' basketball camp trip to CNU. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no nays, the trip is approved.
The next basketball camp, boys and girls basketball camp to Virginia Beach Sports Complex, also on a Saturday, and they would use a county bus.
Okay. Madam Chair, I move that we accept the field trip for the boys and girls basketball camp in Virginia Beach on a Saturday.
Second.
You've heard the motion and it has been second that we accept the boys and girls, approve the boys and girls trip to basketball camp at Virginia Beach, which will occur on a Saturday. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no nays, the trip is approved.
And the last trip is to Woodrow Wilson Workforce Rehabilitation. This is a trip we take every year. So where students would stay overnight. This is for our exceptional education students. And it's to assist students in their transition from high school to post-secondary options by helping them answer basic questions, what's out there for them, their talents, their interests, and what jobs they may enjoy after high school.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the Wilson Workforce Rehabilitation Field Trip.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we approve the Wilson Workforce Rehabilitation Field Trip. All of those in favor, use the usual sign.
Aye.
Hearing no nays, the trip is approved.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to ask Ms. Fleming to come forward. Believe it or not, it's time to talk about budget development. She will talk to us a little bit about the calendar this evening.
Yes, good afternoon, Board. It's hard to believe that it's the second week of school, and I am going to be talking to you today about the FY23 school year's budget. So, but we do want to get a little bit of an early start this year. Dr. West and I had met during the summer and decided that we really wanted to take an earlier approach to developing our budget. So what I have before you looks, very similar to previous years. However, we just kind of moved the timeline up. So I'm just going to kind of hit a couple highlights here. This calendar, once it's approved, we can amend it at any time. It does not require board approval to amend it, but we can amend it as needed, based on what's going on. But we do want to, one of the biggest changes is we're meeting with the Board of Supervisors 2 weeks from today. And the idea of that meeting is to start discussions about budget on the front end versus meeting with them in March on the back end. So we hope that this will help facilitate budget discussion and, a clearer understanding of, what we're looking at as we move throughout the year. Also, our budgets internally are going to be due before we head home for Thanksgiving break. Usually it's before we head for Christmas break or winter break, excuse me. So that's a little bit earlier for all of the budget holders and the people who, the schools that prepare their budgets. This is going to allow us to have more time to analyze some of this data, look at look at what people are asking for, be able to prioritize. We also are expecting the results of the compensation study that Ms. Branch is heading up by January, hopefully. Yeah. So we do know that that's going to be a big part of the budget development for next year as well, or we are anticipating that is going to be a big part. We also know that the fourth Tuesday, all the workshops that you are going to be having. I didn't list those individually on this calendar, but we do anticipate that will be an opportunity for us to bring to you detailed information and for discussion at each one of those meetings. But I do have the school board budget work sessions outlined starting in January, once we get the governor's budget, and moving straight along to where Dr. Weston will present her budget. And then, of course, we'll have to do the balancing act as in previous years. I'll be glad to answer any questions or provide you with any additional data if you'd like that as needed. Anything you want to see right off the bat?
You usually give us a kind of an overview of when the things have to happen. You'll be doing that again?
Sure. They're really, as far as that's concerned, Ms. Pittman, we still are required to give the Board of Supervisors our local request by February the 28th. So that has not changed. We have Dr. Weston presenting her budget to the school board, to you, at the beginning, at the first meeting in February, which is a little earlier than we've done it. We did it last year. And the other deadline that we must meet is we have to approve a budget prior to the Board of Supervisors adopting a budget. But other than that, we can be flexible with the way we do things. The governor comes out with his recommended budget mid-December. That's where we get our first look at what revenues are going to look like from the state. And of course, that's going to be dependent upon who's, sitting. It could be who's sitting in office as to what that looks like as well. So we always hope for state money to help us with our budgets. We are still using CARES funding. That'll be part of our budget as well. Although we have pretty much allocated how most of that is being spent at this point. But if you have any questions, and of course, if there's priorities that you want to see outside of, we'll get more into those details as we progress. But if there's something that you would like to see me work on or give you more detailed information on, I will be glad to provide that to you.
So the first time we're going to get the budget packet is going to be October 7th.
Well, you won't get those,
Oh.
Ms. Haney, unless you want to fill out one for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, those are the budget holders. So
Okay.
that would be the principals and all of the directors for the different departments.
Okay.
So they put together their budget. We give them some guidelines. They come back and provide us with their budget based on these guidelines.
Okay.
And then we can take that data and look at what that looks like across the division and where we stand as it relates to our projected revenues and our previous expenses. And that's where we kind of start. But really, as far as the board, of course, we'll be giving you updates, but really until we get to December, when we know exactly what our state revenues are going to look like, it's really hard to start making decisions until we get to that point. Other than, just reviewing, prioritizing, analyzing. But if there's something particular you would like for us to look into, we'll be glad to do that.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you would like them to approve the calendar?
Yes, I would like I'm asking for the approval of the calendar as submitted.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the budget calendar as presented.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the budget calendar as presented. All of those in favor, use the usual sign.
Aye.
Hearing no nays, the budget calendar is approved.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next part of the board matters, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about policy. The first policy updates I would be asking you to approve have to do with the policies that were presented back in May of 2021. These policies, I believe there was a couple of pages of them, but they all had to do with changes in legal references, our Virginia code, and or some of them were deleted. So there's we need those to be approved so that Ms. Golson can then add those to the policy handbook or update the policy handbook. But there weren't any new regulations that needed to be drafted or any new changes to our policy other than legal and or code references.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the VSBA policy updates and adopt them.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept or that we approve the VSBA policy updates. All of those in favor, use the usual sign of voting.
Aye.
Hearing no opposed, it is approved.
The next policy and regulations go hand in hand. And we've had a lot of conversation around this. You remember this summer, we spent some time at our retreat/advance talking about the treatment of transgender students. I'm really proud to say that I work in a school district where all means all. And so I appreciate the dialogue and the feedback, relative to this policy. And, I think we've come together with a very comprehensive approach to making certain that we not only meet what the state is requiring of us, but we're doing what's right by our young people. And so what the actual requirement was that we put together a comprehensive policy that made certain that we provided our students with a very welcoming and a school that was free from discrimination and harassment. And that's for all kids. But particularly for this particular policy, it had to do with regardless of the student's gender identity or expression. And I will tell you that I think that, what was presented both back in August and then again in September, we have done just that. Inside the policy JBB, we have information relative to how we will be compliant with our non-discrimination laws. We have the maintenance of a safe and supportive learning environment that's free of discrimination and harassment for all students. We have in there the prevention of and response to bullying and harassment for all students. We have a maintenance of student records. We have in there how students will be identified, how we will protect students' privacy and the confidentiality of sensitive information, and enforcement of sex-based dress codes. And I know this is something near and dear to our student representatives, so we're going to be working on some dress code stuff this year. And then student participation in sex-specific school activities and events and the use of facilities. Activities and events do not include athletics, because that was something that was excluded from this policy. And so what I'm presenting to you this evening is I'm asking for approval of the policy JBB, as well as the regulations that you have in front of you. And I'm open to discussion and/or recommendations relative to the policy as it is presented, so we can make certain that we get that information correct from Ms. Golson.
Just as a comment, we've spent many hours discussing, looking it over, adjusting, trying to make sure it fits with what we are working with here in Dinwiddie County, and making sure we cover all our bases, and that it is a welcoming, like Dr. Weston said, for all of our students, that anyone can ask for adjustments in locker room, restroom kind of assignments. So it's been a long ordeal.
We have discussed this again and again, and I believe we've come to a good place. And those are my comments on this, and I think we are ready to accept what we have come up with.
And Madam Chair, I move that we accept the recommendation with the adjustments that Dr. Weston has described, and they will be reposted after we
And
make
those adjustments would be under the access to facilities.
Yes.
Right.
You've heard the motion.
I second
Is
it.
there a second?
Yes.
You've heard the motion. It has been second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing no nays. The report as presented with the adjustments or adjustments will be accepted.
Revisions, yes.
Revisions.
We did
It
revisions.
is approved.
I will say the regulations, I think what they do, and I really thank Dr. Gurley for helping to draft this for us based on feedback that we received, do provide us with, to ensure that every student at every school, we approach work with these young people in the same manner. We also will be adding a link there to the resources that are available via VDOE. That'll be very beneficial for us as well. But I'm excited to have this policy in place for our young people. Thank you for that. And that is all under board matters for this evening,
Okay.
unless Ms. Golson has something.
Ms. Golson, is there any new business? No new business. Superintendent matters?
I would like to ask Ms. Powell to come forward. Ms. Powell has fully been indoctrinated into her new role. And so she'd like to provide you with a health and safety plan update.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So we're happy to announce that the COVID dashboard is now on our division webpage and is updated daily. On Friday, September 10th, we had a drive-through COVID testing event at Dinwiddie High School. At our request, Virginia Department of Health added an additional back-to-school immunization clinic on Monday, September 13th, yesterday, for any of our students needing back-to-school immunizations, and this was a walk-in event added just at our request. This Thursday, we will have a COVID immunization clinic at Dinwiddie Middle School for interested students and staff. Of course, students must have parental consent. And then on next Thursday, September 23rd, we will have another COVID immunization clinic at the high school for interested students and/or staff. Students, of course, under 18, again, must have parental consent to do that. They could register online or call to register. So, any questions? So the test was Friday. We did a test for anyone who wanted to drive through. The 16th and the 23rd, that's to actually get the immunization, if they choose to do that. Okay, any questions?
Any question for Ms. Powell?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But you're off easy this time.
And I also would like to ask Ms. Fleming to come forward and talk to you a little bit about where we are with enrollment.
Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
Moving right along. As of yesterday, as of today, we have 3,987 students enrolled that have shown up. That's 163 students under budget. We have 29 no-shows at the elementary level, 22 no-shows at the middle school, and 44 at the high school. Now, I do know that principals, guidance, counselors, our student support teams are working to determine the reasons that we're having these no-shows. I know Dr. Gurley had a team meeting this morning, and we have people working on this as we speak. We have a spreadsheet, and people have gone in, and I know some of these no-shows are going to show up as students because they've come back, and some of them will be withdrawn. As we move throughout this week, we'll be looking at these numbers very carefully. Right now, I don't feel like we need to jump and make any budget, decisions or, holds or anything like that on spending. We may need to do that towards, at the end of this week, but I think right now we just need to get a clear idea of what our enrollment truly looks like. I do know that, we are tracking the students one by one. The schools are doing a pretty good job of, going in and putting why the students and where they've gone. Some we are still tracking down clearly by the looks of this. And so those are the ones I know Dr. Gurley's team is going to be concentrating on, looking for, why these students, where they are, why they have not shown up at school. But I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have regarding enrollment.
Do you have a deadline for yourself in locating these students? And after that deadline, what will happen?
Well, I was going to say, I think I'm quoting this right. I think after 15 days, you have to remove them from the rolls. Is that correct? Yeah.
That's correct.
15 days, they have to come off of our rolls altogether. But I do know that, they are doing everything they can to try and locate these students. But I did see some notes on, there's some that, we are having having locating
So that's why
those.
Dr. Gurley and his team, do you want to speak to
I was
what you're
gonna say,
doing
would you
next
like
week?
So on Monday, we will be, on Monday, the elementary, the middle, and the high school team. So we have the school social workers, school counselors, the exceptional education team, Ms. Powell, I know Mr. Bird. We even have some administrators. We will be going out into the community on Monday. We will be departing the schools around 11, and we will give people time enough to get up. And we got some door hangers that let them know where to contact us if no one answers. But it's our goal to track down as many of these students. And we've also are even going back to last school year for the students who were no-shows for last school year who got dropped. We want to make sure that we don't have any child who has fallen off the radar. And I will say that I did take a look at the list before we came to the meeting, and the schools are doing a very good job of going into, and I left Ms. Setters and Ms. Gibbs off. They also are working with us too in terms of the student success side of it. And they are going through, and some of these students that are no-shows right now, they will be homebound students on Monday. Some students, they're just a lot of different medical. Some students where the parents are in the process of moving. So I think we have a really good hold, but the ones that we don't have anything by, those are the students that we will be going and making contact with on Monday.
That's huge budget-wise.
Well, I do anticipate that this number the gap will close. But I also do anticipate that we're
base our
not going to
budget
hit the anticipated budget number of 4,150.
That's what
Yes.
And I think, I mean, our biggest worry is like the fact that, they have not engaged with us, but they also have not asked for records or
Right.
anything like that. So we're
Transfer,
really
yeah.
just worried about, as Dr. Gurley said, that, I mean, have they just, where are they? So we really just need to get a good handle on that and not just drop them from the roll. We got to find out where they are.
You think they might be holding out for virtual?
Well, we don't have truancy officers per se, but I mean,
Social workers.
the social workers do it, work in that capacity, yeah. I mean, they know the families and are really good in working with that, so they're part of this team.
The ones that you have, the ones that are missing, and you have some type of name or something.
Yeah.
Were they hybrid or virtual, maybe holding out for virtual or anything like that?
That information is not on this sheet.
It's a combination of different, scenarios. I mean, some of them were virtual. Some of those students that are on that list, they had legitimately moved to somewhere else and it's coding errors. So some of them, I mean, so we'll get back some of these students, but some of them are true transfers, and those won't be students that we will be regaining on that no-show list. And so they are working to clean up that data.
So when we come back together again in 2 weeks, I think we'll be able to give you, an updated report, and we can look at what we're possibly facing for the rest of the year.
That's right.
What did we end with last year?
4134, I believe.
4150.
It was real close to what we had
Budget.
budgeted. Yes.
Right.
So this is below that. So,
Yeah, any questions for
I don't think so.
Krista?
all right. Thank you very much.
Are there any citizen comments? No citizen comments? Board members' comments? Ms. Mayor?
No, I just, I'm wishing the entire public school system a wonderful, blessed, and safe school year. And I'm praying that, we'll have a good year.
We're opening much more difficult than we planned. We just need students and staff and community to do everything they can to stay safe, wash hands, social distance, consider getting vaccines. Because it's really important that we do what we can to stay open and have a more normal year than we've had in the last 2 years. For the students' sake and the teachers' sake.
Ms. Haynes?
Same thing. I just want to wish everybody a very good start to this year, and I hope everyone has a wonderful year. We just need a more normal year to deal with than we have had before. So please stay safe. Enjoy your school year. We're looking for good things to come from all of y'all.
Mr. Smith?
I also want to wish everyone a safe, healthy, and happy school year, and hopefully a long and prosperous one. And also glad to see, that the field trips are starting to come back. That's a good sign of getting back to normal. So I'm glad to see that's happening. Our kids are able to go explore different opportunities.
I want to say, have a happy and a safe year, and do what you can to urge our students, staff, support staff, everybody to please wear a mask, and ask them to please be safe and be careful when they leave the school. We wear them in the school, but when we go outside, ask them to please be careful. And I believe we can have a year that's more normal and less interruptions. And I'm so glad to see you back. And we're gonna have a good year. We're gonna, every now and again, I'll say something to make you laugh, so you can forget what went on during that day. Thank you. Dr. Weston?
I think it's students.
Oh, I forget my
Yes, our
students.
students are back.
Ms. Culford and Ms. Weaver, which going first? Oh, who's gonna speak?
Well, I wanted to say that I'm very excited to be back in school. It's definitely not normal, but it'll take adjusting to get used to. It takes a lot to get used to, like I just said, and I feel like our school can be a lot more transparent with for COVID situation, because a lot of people are confused, very, very, very confused about whether it's social distancing in classrooms or how many cases we have. And if you go around and ask certain teachers, everyone's saying different things, so no one really knows what is what. So I feel like transparency is very important in that situation, and I hope to see better things in the future.
Thank you.
I want to thank all the police officers who've been doing traffic in the morning, because on the first day of school, it was very rough and chaotic, but every day it is getting better and better, and it's so much smoother, and they're doing a fabulous job, and they look so stressed out, but I just want them to know that they're doing a fabulous job. And I just want a little bit more communication, like Jamaica said, with like the COVID cases, because we're all like a little confused on what's allowed and what isn't, and so just more clarification. But the school year's off to a really good start, I feel like, with all the students back. It feels somewhat normal to have so many kids back at the high school. It's kind of different from last year, but it's really nice to like see everybody socializing safely, but still like socializing. So it's really nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just like to, I did check right before I came out here, and if you go to our website and you scroll all the way to the bottom, the COVID dashboard is there, and you can see exactly by school how many COVID cases. So I think there's a total of 11 that we've had so far since school had opened. So that's part of that transparency I think that Ms. Powell had talked about. So she keeps that up every single day, so you'll be able to see that. So if there's something else we can talk about, if there's something else that you guys are thinking about, but that's there and she's keeping that up every single day. I wanted to acknowledge Jamaica. Jamaica represented all of our students. She participated on, she was on a panel discussion in which she represented student voice as it has to do with race relations in this community and in our school system, and did a fabulous job. I think you were the only young person from the high school there, right? I mean, everybody else was the only person of your generation, I guess I should say. Did a fabulous job representing. And what grew out of that was some exciting more opportunities for us. And now we're talking about doing in October a panel discussion of just high school young people where teachers will listen to them talk about what it's like to be at the high school and the like. So I know some of the teachers have become very excited about that and are getting behind that. And so thank you, Jamaica, for representing us and also sparking that kind of interest at the high school. I can't wait to see what's going to come out of that. Now, along those lines, I think the first couple of days of school, I got a 4-page letter from the two of them. They've been thinking a lot about, because when you tell them we want their voice and their voice matters, they take that to heart, and I'm so happy about that. So we're going to take on a project of dress codes at the high school. And they've got they've done their research, they've got a lot of great ideas, and they're ready to get to work. So we're going to be planning that, so be prepared. They ask a lot of tough questions of me. And so I'm looking forward to working with our students along that line. And lastly, but certainly not least, I want to take this opportunity to have this public forum to say to Dr. Gurley that I love you, and I am so incredibly happy for you in this next phase of your journey. And I'm just so happy to have been a part of your story. And can't wait to see the amazing things that you're going to do in Charlottesville. They're really getting an amazing leader, and I know you're going to do great things there. So thank you for your service to Dinwiddie County Public Schools. You certainly have left a lasting impact here and big shoes to fill. And we're going to take you at your word that we are indeed part of your family now, and you can't get rid of us. So I want to make sure we say that publicly to you. He's not leaving just yet, but this is our last board official meeting, so I want to make sure I said that. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Gurley, and I certainly will miss you, and you know
Yes.
why. And is there anything else? Well, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much for coming.